Hello there. What's going on, everybody? Today I want to talk to you about the Vulture droids and something that a couple of you guys have picked up on, and that is that some of the Vulture droids they spoiled in the Clone Wars wave for X-Wings Wave 3 have some dots next to the name. Now, you've seen dots before for uniques, right? Like Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker, and it just means you can only have one of them. But it looks like there's more than one dot on some of these vultures, and I'm going to talk about what that means today, something called limited. I also want to remind you guys there's a huge new giveaway going on right now for a Super Star Destroyer. All it takes to enter to win a Super Star Destroyer in the form of a Cool Stuff gift card that you could use for a Super Star Destroyer or for whatever you want. All you have to do to enter that is become a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that, and I encourage you to also click that bell for alerts so you don't miss when winners are announced or when new videos come out. Plus, I appreciate the subscriptions. It really helps me out, guys. All right, well, let's go ahead and talk about this. So, right here, you can see next to the Vulture droid that it looks to have three different dots right before the name. And, that's had a couple of people asking some questions. Some people have seen a mechanic like this in other games before. And, of course, if you are pretty rules savvy, you would know right where to go. But this is called limited. And it's really an example of future-proofing the game to work just the way it should. And this was in the rules reference. And so, basically it says some ship cards and upgrades have limitations. These limits are identified by a number of bullets to the left of their names. During squad building, player cannot field more copies of this card than share names with the number of bullets in front of the name. For example, if one bullet appears in front of the card's name, it can be included only once in a squad. And now, first off, I'm going to stop right here because this is what we have always seen before. You've always seen just one bullet. But here, they future-proofed it enough to add more than one bullet. Like, for example, you wanted to have a card that says, Parent of Jar Jar Binks. Okay? And in theory, since Jar Jar Binks likely has two parents, you could have two parents of Jar Jar Binks, but a maximum of two parents of Jar Jar Binks, and it can be included two types of a squad. But it also applies across card types. For example, if a card has two bullets in front of it, a player could field two ship cards with that name, two upgrade cards with that name, or one ship card and one upgrade. So an example is, let's say you had Jar Jar Binks, one parent, piloting a Naboo fighter, and another parent was loaded into the torpedo tube, and it was a special type of torpedo where they were going to launch a Gungan out the frame. Now, this is a silly example. It applies probably most likely to electronic components, which is why we're probably first seeing it with the Separatists with all of their droids, because most things that are unique are generally going to be people. And for organic people, they're not going to see like two of them. Unless, of course, it were twins. If you were to find a pair of twins, I believe there were a pair of twin sisters that were famous in Legends in the cantina in Episode 4. So they could do twin, and there's two of them, so then you can, field two of them in a squad potentially, but that carries across creature types. So for crazy example, if there were two versions of Darth Vader, or if Darth Vader had a two bubble, like let's say he was cloned, then you could have a Darth Vader crew and then a Darth Vader pilot. But Darth Vader's only got the one bubble, just like the one dot like we've always seen before. So in the spread here, a couple of you noticed that there's on the far left, you have like three dots, then there's also two dots and one. So we're going to zoom in a little closer and look at what we may get here. So here, kind of zooming in up close, you can see that your pilot skill 3 on the left is some kind of predator or something. It looks like it has three dots. Now, what that means is you're going to be able to field 3 of those in your squad. So and it's kind of neat that Vulture droids don't have their own identity. They're not unique people, but you still wanted to have some type of ace pilot. Now, considering I'm expecting these guys to be really cheap, they might even end up being cheaper than TIE fighters, which would make sense. I think if there was ever going to be a ship that's cheaper than TIE fighters, this is the one to do that with. So, a mass ship. Obviously, you're like Hounds. Never mind. I don't want to get like the Escape Shuttle as, got a cheaper version, but, a swarm type ship that's going to be cheaper than a TIE fighter, this is the one to do it with. But this way you're allowed to have, you can have some elites in a thematic way. So these are, you're basically your triple limited here on the far left represents like an upgraded version of fighter. but maybe it would have been a little too strong for them to just let you completely swarm and run nothing but that. Likewise, you also have another 3 immediately to its right, which is just some kind of separatist Vulture droid with it as Initiative 3. That one is not limited. So if you need to swarm 3s, you can. But if you want to have the upgraded 3 that's limited, you can only have up to 3 of them, which makes sense. Your other ones are Initiative 1. You do apparently, there is a single, I mean, this is just a great card spread to kind of show you everything. You've got the non-limited because your far right card, your Trade Federation pilot there is just completely unlimited. Then your second one from the right has 2, I don't know, so that's one you're just gonna have 2 of. And I'm trying to read what it says, Hallow Chancellor. I don't know, but yeah. So that one you have 2. Then you have another one that you can only have 1 for your 1s. Then for 3s, you can have as many as you want of that, second to the last one, and then one on the far left, you can have a maximum of 3 of. Now, what's important is that if, let's say this one on the far left is called Predator Drone, right? If they give that same name to an upgrade, maybe it's like Predator, like maybe a type of AI or a technology that could be loaded into a pilot or into a torpedo, for example, that's one way to do that. We might even see types of ordnance or types of weapons that are this way. We might see torpedoes that are restricted to maybe like 2, or something like that. This because like maybe they're good, but if you completely swarmed with them, it would be too much or something like that. Actually, it would be interesting. Do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think we will ever see unique ordnance, like restricted with only one pip? So maybe like a type of torpedo that's the mother of all bombs, the Moab torpedo, and you can only have 1 of them in your list. That'd be kind of interesting. But they haven't really done that. They haven't gone into unique weapons before, on ships. So that would be pretty interesting. I'm curious what you guys think about that. I'm pretty sure we would see something like that with if they bring Clone Wars to Armada and you have Grievous in the Malevolence with that unique ion cannon they have there. I would imagine that would be kind of like a unique weapon. So I'm curious if they will be able to bring something like that to X-Wing. I think the CIS is the faction to do it. And I think this is also pretty cool because this is another way for them to give faction identity to a game that has so many factions. The Separatists are going to have, are going to be the first time we've seen these multiple limited factions. And you could even see something like this potentially with certain generic Jedis. Like maybe for the Republic, or the Galactic Republic. And I apologize because some of you have caught me referring to the Republic as the Old Republic. It's like deep in my lizard brain because I had played Star Wars: The Old Republic so much when that first came out, and I think for a long time, certain people just got used to calling it the Old Republic. So the Galactic Republic obviously is going to have, we've seen the generic Jedi Knight, but maybe maybe they want to come out with generic Jedi Master, and maybe that will just be like limited, restricted of 2 because they don't want you to have too many Jedi Masters or nameless Jedi Masters. I kind of hope though that they maybe don't do generic Jedi Masters just because we have almost every Jedi Master. I think we have their names. They're all canon, and there's fans of just about any type of, like, you name one of the Jedi Masters, somebody's going to be a big fan of that. So, like, by going with generics, it's like, well, we could have put Deba Balaba in there. We could have put Shak Ti in there. We could have put Mace Windu in there instead of generic Jedi Master. So I don't know if the Galactic Republic faction will follow suit with this, but I think it's a cool technology. I think it's a cool design space, and I'm actually glad that they future-proofed it enough to kind of put that in there. So, multiple pips, a very cool way to do things. I like it, but I would love to hear what you guys think. Do you think this is going to be a common thing amongst this? Do you think that maybe, First Order and Resistance or other factions will adopt this? And if so, do you think it will be lightly? Like, we've seen before where one faction has an identity and then another faction does it a little bit. Like in X-Wing 1.0, the Rebels had a lot of turrets. The Empire took them a long time to get turrets. They got a Decimator, but then it took them even longer to get like a turret upgrade. The Aggressor, the TIE Aggressor, where it had finally a twin laser turret platform for the Empire. And just as soon as they got it, then the game ended up getting revamped to 2.0. So then they only had it for a short period of time. But yeah, you'll see like one faction will have like 80% of something, and then the other factions might get it a little bit. Same way with cloaking, for example, where it was the Empire's thing, and then that cloaking device Illicit came out, so then Scum could use it just a little bit. They could get a hint of it, and I don't mind if the flavor of one faction bleeds over a little bit into another faction. I don't mind that at all. It adds a little bit more depth to the game. I think with 7 factions, you're going to have a hard time not having any bleed over. So I expect that they will use this mechanic again at some point in the future. It's possible Scum could use this with the droids that they have available to them. There's a lot of leftover Clone Wars stuff that ends up falling into the hands of Scum. And so it seems very likely that that could happen. I could maybe even see the Empire or adopting something like this, although it's really too early to tell if the First Order and Resistance are going to use any of this type of technology either. But let me know what you think in the comments below, and check out, if you want further clarification, check out page 12 of the rules reference guide. That's where we got our ruling for limited, and of course this could always be changed, but I don't think it will. I think this is good design space, good future proofing for 2.0. All right, guys, that's all I wanted to talk to you today about. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and click that bell for alerts, and leave a comment so you can enter to win the giveaway that will be announced at the end of one of my videos on or about approximately December 21st is where I'm shooting for, so it'll be just in time for the holidays. Hopefully somebody will have a very, very Merry Christmas. Oh, hopefully you all have a very Merry Christmas or happy holiday season, whatever it is you celebrate, or nothing at all. Hopefully it's just a great time of year for you. There should be a lot of really cool stuff in the pipe. We have a lot of cool releases coming for a lot of different games right now, so hopefully this November and December prove to be a magical time for you, and I thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.